I've got two videos of one woman with a lady saying, lie to men for money, lie to men for money. So if you want money and if you want something, don't tell the truth about what you want. Just lie. So I'm going to play both videos where she's talking about lying to men for money. And then you're going to get my reaction after. But before, like the video, please. And let's get into it.
You need to start lying to men and you need to be batshit crazy. And I am very sorry, but if you are someone that is all about ethics and you don't want to lie to a man and you want to be a good woman, hey, I commend you for that, but I'm very, very sorry. My account is not the account for you. I'm very sorry to say that. I am all about scheming, bullshitting, saying or doing damn near anything to get what I want. I mean, I come up with the wildest scenarios to tell these men, and it works for me. If you are someone that is interested in having the same experiences that I talk about on my account, then you should probably start implementing some of the same things that I do. You know, you like to take yourself out to solo dinners, tell a man on your roster that another man at the restaurant paid for your entire meal. He's gonna send you money every single time you go out. Literally come up with the craziest shit. If you know 3 men on your roster will send you money for rent, tell all 3 of them at the same time that rent is very late, and now you're up $6 grand if your rent is $2 grand a month. Tell them your card kept tripping at the fucking grocery store and another man ended up paying for your groceries. He's probably gonna give you a credit card to take with you at all times. Dealing with a man is never about ethics, and a man dealing with a woman has never been about the ethics. A billionaire doesn't become that ethically. So being a closed-mouthed, meek little sweetheart is not gonna get you anywhere. You should be a menace to fucking society. If you want some money, you gotta give him some problems to solve. If you don't have any problems, you need to start making stuff up. Tell me your friend's getting married, you need money for a wedding dress, invite him to the wedding. As a matter of fact, future fake. Talk about how excited you are. And then after you get the money and do whatever you want with it or put it up, I don't know, tell him a couple of months later the wedding's been called off because she caught him cheating. No old reliable is cash back at the grocery store. Tell him you have parking tickets that you didn't realize some of them were written by actual officers, and now you worried your license is going to get suspended. $750, and if you've got 3 boyfriends or if you got a little roster, double that, triple it, I don't know, do what you will. Tell him your MacBook is dated and you can't access search engine updates and you're worried about accessing your classes. I have an old MacBook that I keep on hand just for that when I feel like lying. You could lie about your lease renewal and tell him they're raising your rent by $200, and if he helps you with your rent, you got an extra $200. If you've got a human on your roster, bingo! As they say, a closed mouth does not get fed, and if this feels too much like begging for you, I'm very sorry. You might want to scroll.
So there you have it. You heard the video. Lie to men to get money. If you're that girl, or if you're that lady, if you're that woman, why would you have to lie? Why can't you just say exactly what it is you want? You've got to look at these things as people. We've got to look at these things, men, and think, does this make logical sense? She's saying have a roster. If you've got it, lie. If you've got men at your disposal, just take their money by lying. Put some falsified information out there to them. Oh, they're none the wiser. They're going to do it because there's simps that are doing it. So, again, if you're one of those guys that is using logic and you're trying to speak to somebody, you've got to make sense of what they're saying. You've got to ask questions. And it doesn't mean you don't, help people. That's not the point here. The point is being taken for granted just for money, being lied to. That's a form of not being respected if you're having to lie for money from a man. So a man is not being respected, more or less. He just is a cash machine in this instance. If you've got a couple of men on your roster, right, as a woman, just ask them. They're going to do it because there's men that do it. But the whole ways you're doing it is showing you don't respect them. You just respect the fact that I want my money. And as long as I want what I want, that's all that matters. Because then you're going to use the fact that, a lot of women will use, but men have been taking advantage. Yeah, the men that you have been going with have been taking advantage of women or of you. The men that you have accepted in your life. And that's the problem. The choices, the consequences that come from accepting certain type of men who have made you have, bad experiences. Now you're going to potentially say, a lot of women will potentially say, so now it's our get back to go and get, certain finances from men, especially if they are paying. Who am I to refuse their advances or their finances? That's the mentality. Who am I to? No. Why do you even have to go there? Why do you even have to do it in that way? By lying to get what you want. if we're in this kind of atmosphere right now, and as time has gone on in this world, this is how we're moving. How do we get the sort of communication and the right sort of vibes with each other that a lot of women are saying is not happening from men? How are we getting the seamless results that women want? How are we getting that? If we're having to do this, if women are having to do this, how are you getting the results of what you really want from a good man? Because if you're looking to just have this be your thing as the way you maintain in your life, and you want a good man as well, how would he be able to accept this? He won't. So you're just literally gonna be one of those women who just are just hoping to keep finding another person as you get older to do this. This is not something that shows that I'm that girl. I'm that woman. It's showing I have to lie to just get what I want. It's like, it reminds me of when you were a child, when you have to lie sometimes. Some people will lie to their parents just to be able to get some money from them to go and get something that they shouldn't get. For example, like some clothes or some, a game, but knowing damn well they're telling their mom or dad something else as to why they need that money. When you're young, you do childish things to an extent. You try and think, I can get this in this way. Because that's your young mind. But as you get older, just say what it is. Having to lie and disrespect men by doing this is ridiculous. There's good guys out here that are just doing what they do. Should they have to take this? This is just worthy for the simp, right? To do this for the simp. Let the simp do this because men do it. And they do. So I'm never going to say, this is not happening. This is happening. Men are out there. They've got money in their pocket. So they're thinking, it doesn't really matter in their mind because they've got money, but they're not understanding the perception of them from these women. They don't rate you. They don't respect you. As long as that money is there, they're there. Once the money goes, toss to the side, on to the next. Oh, he switched up on me. Y'all, he switched up on me, sis. He had to go. Now you've got another person you start talking about. He had to come out of the roster, and then another one has to come into the roster just for the finances. He serves no other purpose. And if you want to maraud in that way, that's fine. This is Shera 7's daughter. And this is for the good guys to be mindful of what's taking place. This is a thing specifically for a simp, and the simp are the ones that are polluting the game. They're the ones. End of the day, it's a choice for both parties, but at the same time, the process of her speaking in this way, she can speak in this way she wants, but it's the lack of general respect for the guy. It looks like you've got to a point where you said, you know what? I might as well, because there's guys out here who are simps that are willing to do it. And hey, if you've got a simp, hey, do what you do. But this is not something I will definitely, promote to any person that is a girl that I know, a woman that I know. Anyone that's trying to do this is unnecessary. If you're with someone that's good in a relationship, that's different. But to just get men on a roster on your phone and you're using them for money, and there's probably other things that some of these guys are doing to get in return as well, So you've got to look at how you're moving. And if you think you're moving seamlessly, you got to think again, because this is not a good thing when it comes down to it. And at the end of the day, you're having to lie just to be able to get your way as an adult. You're having to tell a lie just to get some money from another man. That don't put you on a certain level. So it's important, men who ain't, privy to this, to listen, watch the video again, and learn and move accordingly. Because these women aren't respecting general men today when it comes to the fact that they're only looking at them for money. Now, there's women who do respect men and accept the good men and the advances of the good men. But this is a result of saying, why not? This is her saying, why not? If they're there to give me stuff, why not? Why can't I have 3 or 4 or 5, men on my roster? Or why can't I just get it? Because that's what they're there for. They're here to be a wallet for us. That's the mentality. It's, You don't serve any other purpose apart from that. And this is where we have to get the understanding as, smart men. If they have an opinion on men that is a bit more expansive, then it's best to investigate that person and see if there's any sense and substance, from that person thereafter. But there's a lot of men who are just shelling out, none the wiser in circumstances and situations like this. But because they've got money in their pocket, they don't think of it too much. The men are not thinking too much. It's just going by an appearance and thinking, okay, she's asked me for this. I don't want to show I can't do it. Men and their sort of, I wouldn't call it machoism, but it's just more of the typical man way of, if she's asked me for something, someone that I know has asked me for something, someone that I've, spoken to, she may look decent in their eyes. I'm going to show that I can do it. Not thinking about these kinds of circumstances that they could be in. They just think from a perspective of, I just want to be able to show that I'm not one of those guys that can't. So then they're pulling out again the stops, all the stops to show that, hey, yeah, I'll send it. How much you want? I'll send it. And a lot of the time, these guys are being played for fools, because this is prime example in the way she described it of a guy that she looks at as a fool. I can say what I need to say. It's easy way of saying anything just to be able to get what I want. So it's important, men, to be mindful, smart men to be mindful, and differentiate yourself from the men who are like this if you want to. Because this is a choice. This is a choice to be a man like this. It's a choice. It's a choice to be logical, and it's a choice not to be logical and actually assess who is around you and what benefits they're providing towards, for you as well. So everything should be in a two-way street kind of fashion. Never one-sided, you just doing things for randoms, So it's important to be mindful. But like the video, people, does this make sense in general?